Well, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about?
Us, right?
That's what, I kind of put that out there, maybe just for us to reintroduce ourselves and kind of, because I know I was thinking about that your sibling, we have a new listener, like,
Right.
People need to know who we are again, right? Like,
hello. I know. I'm bothered because my printer just decided that it wants to implode. Like all the lights on it are flashing and it won't turn off.
Oh.
So it just happened whenever I came in here, because I wasn't here earlier when I thought that we were recording an hour ago and it was fine. And now that we're starting to record, it's like, fuck you.
Tweaking out.
Yeah, so I'm just a little further from the mic because I'm gonna fuck with the printer real quick. Because it's bothering me.
When? Later this, I think it's like the 23rd, 24th, 25th of August.
Okay, so that's like a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
And the shadow starts like a week before.
It's coming. And for some reason, hello, little hummingbird.
Oh, I just got a new feeder. They love it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I feel like, okay, so it's going to be Mercury retrograde in Virgo. And anytime Virgo is like a full moon or planets are in Virgo, the stomach issues are real. So I feel like this is a sign to me and whoever else has stomach issues. Lay low for Mercury retrograde.
Okay.
Don't try anything funky, fancy. Just stick with the rivers you're used to.
Stick with the rivers you're used to. Okay.
Listen to the rivers, listen to used to.
Okay.
Exactly.
And Adreyauna brought some decks. She be shuffling.
All right.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna pull a card. How were we when we first started?
Ooh.
And how are we now?
Yeah. I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Exactly.
So, are we watching a hummingbird fight or a hummingbird mating dance?
I don't know.
I can't
tell. They're not trying to hurt.
Yeah. Because I was about to say, this is like the most polite fight I've ever seen, if so. They're just kind of like gently dancing around each other.
So you would know if they're fighting. They dive bomb each other. They're like,
that's what I thought.
Mad.
Yeah,
you'll
see each other away. I think it's like a mating dance. How fascinating. Cute. They're so cute. We just got this new feeder just this past week. And they seem to like it quite a bit. Are those your birds in the background I just heard, Becki?
Probably. I have my headphones on, so
I heard a little something.
I did too. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's that red-winged blackbird.
Yep. I heard the little.
Yeah.
We have a few that can hang out down here.
Oh, hello.
All right. Well, I'm ready to get started whenever y'all are.
I think that we should just use what we've been saying already and cut
so
it in. Yeah.
Well, then, yes, I'm into that. Ooh, okay. So, where we were and where we are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll let Adreyauna delve into that then. All right, Adreyauna, baby girl.
Should I open this up?
Yeah, let's do it officially.
Okay, let's do it.
Welcome to Magical Aspirations, a podcast for magical people,
where we aspire to gather all of the knowledge that magic has to offer.
A place to illuminate and demystify all things magical.
We are your magical co-hosts. I am Annalisa.
Reverend Raven here.
Adreyauna.
Tune in every Tuesday where we're dropping new episodes every week about our own personal magical stories.
Have a spanking good time.
And sprinkle some interviews in between.
There is so much magic here. Keep coming back every week. Stay magical.
Stay magical.
Stay magical.
Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to Magical Aspirations. It's Adreyauna. And I am so wonderfully excitedly sitting right next to Annalisa.
Yes, she is. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody.
We are in the same place, and it's been a joy. Hello, Reverend Raven, who also just celebrated a big ass birthday. So we are giddy today, and we're just gonna chit chat, check in.
Yeah.
What's going on? Who are we? Where are we?
Reintroduction for the new peeps that we've got listening out there.
Yes. So naturally, I think we should start with this tarot reading.
I think we should start with this tarot reading.
Yes. Okay, so I used the Afro Avatar Tarot deck, and I pulled one card for who we were when we started, and then who are we now? And for the who were we got 5 of Swords, which I was not expecting.
No, but it's very accurate, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. It was very tumultuous.
Yeah.
We were all like on the precipice of something big, a big shift happening within our person. And it feels like a battle of the ego. 5 of Swords always remind me of ego battles. And I think we were together having an ego battle of like, who's leading? What do we need to say? Do we need to step up? Do I need to grab attention? Like there was a lot of that, I feel. And then
I agree.
Personally, us just having to deal with confidence. We were all in different places with our partners. So yeah, there was just a lot going on.
And we were all in such different spaces, I would say, in our magical practices. I'd even say our magical confidence. That's certainly speaking from my own lens. Y'all have heard me talk about that pretty openly, about trying to figure out what type of witch and magical practitioner I am. And I certainly feel a lot more grounded. Whenever I think of the 5 of Swords, that's saying the ego battle kind of thought, like that resonates really hard for where I was feeling on my own journey at the time. How do you feel about that, Becki?
Yeah, I definitely can see that. I was just thinking back to the birth of Reverend Raven.
Yes.
And which we just celebrated. And happy anniversary to Annalisa and her amazing partner.
Thank you.
3 years. Many more to come.
Who forced me into becoming Reverend Raven. I'll put it this way, of coming out of the broom closet.
There you go. There. And I like how you said it. We voluntold you.
Yes. And, me having to come into my own of saying, wow, I do know how to do these things. And that being a leader in the spiritual community.
Yeah.
That I have gotten to go through that journey. That's pretty amazing. And I wouldn't have, embarked on that if I wouldn't have been voluntold to become Reverend Raven.
Well, and kind of in the same aspect on that too, I voluntold the two of y'all that this is what we would be doing. And here we are. And I'm really proud of us. I feel like I've said this a lot this past season about the grace we've given ourselves and like being a little bit more flexible, not being a little bit more rigid. I really like, Adreyauna, what you said about like the, I don't remember exactly the wording that you used just a second ago, but about like the ego part of it, like as far as like, the leadership of like, who is the leader, like whose voice. And like, I feel like we've gotten a really good levelness going on between like, we're just people having a conversation, and like the ego side of that, I feel like has really waned a lot, which I'm really grateful for. Like, it's not about being a big viral thing, like I really want to put out quality content to make other people feel comfortable in their practices that might look a little bit different, because I know we've said this time and time again, but for the new listeners, our biggest mission here is to celebrate every type of magic. Between Reverend Raven, Adreyauna, and we all practice magic really, really differently, and we kind of commune with spirit a lot differently. But yet here we are. This is episode 74 of us just bringing our magic to the table, because I just encourage everyone so deeply to have whatever be it their connection to spirit, to the divine, to their own sovereignty, like just be true about it. Like be true, be you, because we all experience it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I want to jump in here because this is something that's been weighing heavy on me. I remember at the beginning of the podcast, some of the struggles that Annalisa, you were coming to terms with being out of the broom closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that that's coming full circle for me right now of being loud and out about who I am as a person and as a magical practitioner, because my younger sibling just came out as trans. And she has been listening to the podcast.
Yay!
Thank you so much for your support. We love it. Yes. So that's really cool for me to see what I'm doing by being out and being loud and being me is impacting the world around me in a positive way. And what better way can you ask for than to impact your own family?
Yeah. I feel that. Yes. Very, very much so. Very much so.
I agree.
And like now y'all have this whole new level of like available bonding to be had, that like if you had chosen to keep that side of yourself quiet, like maybe y'all, who knows the things that y'all will get to do now because you've decided to share this side of yourself with them and with everybody else and with us, with me. That's certainly proof of that. Like I've talked, the two of you big time have been integral parts in making me feel confident in my quote unquote weirdness,
Y'all were just regular.
I know, right? Like we're all just actually weird. That's why I did put weird in air quotes. I forget sometimes that you guys can't see me. But like it's weird because none of us are really fucking weird. Yeah. Like everybody's just doing their own thing, their own shit. And so like I'm getting the Two of Cups. That was this is where we are now. This is where we are now. And so not to steal Adreyauna's thunder, but I'm just getting so I'm feeling this imagery for myself. So it's two characters looking at each other and it feels like me. Like it's the two sides of me looking at each other. We'll make sure to post pictures of that. And like, so this podcast for me, I think it's if you listen consistently, it's easy to see how we've grown, how we've changed, how we've become more confident, because this is just our journeys. Like I'm certainly not putting on any airs here. I try to be as vulnerable as possible, right? And so with this Two of Cups, I feel a lot of me seeing me for me.
Yeah. Which is interesting because in the Five of Swords card, it's a solo person, which normally it's other people. And then the Two of Cups obviously has two people. And so it feels very communal, but within community, you're able to see your own self reflected in those.
Yes.
And I think it's so interesting how we saw the two hummingbirds.
Yes, doing their little mating dance, like,
And then there were two cardinals, the mother and the father cardinal. So like it.
Ooh, I'm getting big chillies.
Wow. It feels very much like we are seeing each other. We're also seeing our communities differently, I think. And then also Two of Cups, of course, is connected to the Lover's card. But going from air to water, that mental, the stress, the thoughts, and then moving into a physical, tangible essence is really different. This feels very spiritual, of course, obviously. But it feels grounded. Water doesn't always feel grounded, but this feels grounded.
I was going to comment on the same thing because in the imagery, like it's this big kind of classic, like think of like a surfer wave, like, like the wave is coming over on itself, like it's almost, but like the color is it's a really peaceful color. And like, even though you can see the bubbles and kind of the movement in the water, it feels like, I don't know, the movement is easy. The movement is easy. These two people, cups, they're connected.
But you feel it really is one, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the thing that popped into my mind while you were talking about the Two of Cups being related to the Lover's card and whatnot, that in my mind, I see that the Lovers being one being.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it is making me think of our Venus retrograde in Leo right now. And that we are reevaluating our relationship with ourselves.
Big time.
Heavy on that.
Big time. When did that was just recently that started, correct?
It's still,
And that's going on for how, another month?
I can't remember.
I think the beginning of September, around Labor Day.
So about another month.
Yeah.
It is always so, I try sometimes, so like when I see that stuff like that is coming on, I obviously try to read about it, but like I kind of read about it and then forget about it. And then I like to go back and like see how I'm actually moving through it. And that has been such a spot on ping. Like, you know, we talk so much about like over, you know, with cancer season about your shell being your home, like where you are is your home. And that's really been such a focus for this, for me, has been, you know, not just my physical home, but like my spiritual home. Yeah. My body home, all of those things. Really reforming some different relationships with that. Would you guys kind of agree?
Hard, yes. What's funny is I think this Venus retrograde is connected to themes that were happening in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
Who the hell was I then? Good Lord.
And whatever was happening then,
She was a mess, everyone. She was a mess.
Coming back around. And Elise and I were literally just talking about how those years feel like a fucking blur.
Yes.
It was so much going on, a lot of doubt, so much doubt in who I am. What do I believe in? What do I want to show up as? And that was during my self-destructive era.
Oh, absolutely. When I say your girl was a mess, she was like a hot fucking mess. Because the thing that we were specifically talking about that period of like 2013, 14, 15, 16 was that I remember things happened, but I do not really remember the order that they happened, because the self-doubt that was going on in that time. And that really speaks so much to the amount of confidence that I have now. Like I was speaking with my husband this morning about, not like an unsettling conversation that I had with someone who's very close to me yesterday, but just maybe belief questioning, like kind of thing. Like, you know how you just have those moments where all of a sudden you're like, wait, what do I believe? Yeah. And I was able to bounce back so quickly and be like, but I believe this, and I just believe it because that's what I believe. Like, this is what I know. Yeah. Whereas like if that conversation had happened in 2014, you would have caught me in a whole ass tailspin of like questioning everything. And you know, like, and that's such a, that really goes back to this Two of Cups card, what I was saying about like seeing me for who I am. And I also really feel like that's reflecting in the podcast as well, because we're really showing up as who we are. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In 2014 was when Reverend Raven moved to New Orleans. And she was moving away from somewhere where she felt like she couldn't really be herself, but she had to be a muted version of herself. And the idea was to move away somewhere that would allow her to express herself more fully so she could figure out who it was that she really was.
Oh, that checks out.
It makes me want to cry. Because like all the things that you're going through now, like you're so steadfastly Becki. Like,
yeah. And like all the things that are coming up for you now are because you're you and you're standing in that. Just
I know, like it's so it's the juiciest. It really is. This is what I want to do with my life, is to make people like to sit on the sideline, not also to have my own, but also to sit on the sidelines of other people's wins. Like, you know, like, yeah, you did it. And I'm so proud of you, because I know how dark it got there for a minute, like both in my own personal, your personal, you know, it got dark. It got dark, but we came. That's the other thing that I wanted to comment on in this Two of Cups card, is that so inside the cups and then in between the third eyes of the two people, there's just this little light. There is this light, and this is what it makes like a triangle, and it makes me think of the three of us that like be a good sounding board for yourself, but be a good sounding board. Like Becki, how did you word it earlier about the self-awareness we get through community?
Yes.
That's been a really poignant message for me these last, I would say, 6 months.
Yes. And look at that, the triangle. What is that? The strongest shape?
Right.
The strongest shape.
It can bear the most weight, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And now I get to take the lessons that I learned from that community and apply them to my new community.
Yes. Well, and like we were talking about earlier, I'm so proud of you for how much you've spoken on the next generation. And like now that's something that you're getting to embody in like not only your magic and your ancestry and the land that you're on, Becki, but with your new job.
Yeah, I had no idea. No idea this is where I was going to be like 2 months ago.
Like in 2014, if someone had said you would be in X city in, Indiana and being Mrs. Mose and teaching the youths about technology and STEM stuff, like you would have probably scoffed or laughed.
Yeah, I don't like, no way.
No way.
And I just keep seeing ways that all of the different facets of who I am can come together.
Right. Like all of the different lessons you've learned, how like maybe a year ago you were like, what did I learn that for? And now you're like,
settling in.
It was that.
Got it.
It's pretty wild.
And that is my favorite thing about magic. Somebody else in my circle who's very close to me, who I'm not ready to out just yet, but they have recently started to show a lot of interest in this side of things. She was like, what's your first lesson for like a little baby witch? And I was like, okay, 1, because it was the most precious thing. She was like, okay, I did like a full moon cleanse. I did like a salt bath. And I was like, I am proud of you, girl, get it. And then like the next day it was like, okay, I'm feeling a little heavy. And I was like, okay, this is lesson number 1. When you release stuff, you learn more things, and then there is more stuff to be learned, and then you release more things, and then there's more stuff to be learned, and you rinse, lather, repeat until you die. Like, welcome to magic.
Yeah.
And I had to catch myself from sending a kind of like morbid sounding text message to be like, well, to actually being like, all of the layers I've been able to uncover about myself through all of my magical and spiritual practices have been actually life-changing. And like, that's how I decided to deliver it instead, because there is so much to be learned, to be unlearned, and all of that. Okay, that's a good question for if we've got a new reintroduction for what if you had one piece of advice for the babies out there, for the new listeners, the newcomers? Okay, so on top of my cyclical message, if you're going to work on the uppers, you got to work on the lowers. Ground first, always. That's my number 1 message.
Oh, that's such a good one. What would I say? I would say to try all the tools.
Ooh, love.
Try all the tools, because you never know what works with your energy, and what works for you when you're just starting may not always work for you forever.
Boom.
But just trying the tools, learning about them for yourself instead of just reading it or hearing somebody else talk about it. Because there's more than just cards. There's more than just crystals. I'm not diminishing, because we do love these things over here.
Obviously.
But you may do really well going to talk to the trees and that being your form of magic.
Right.
Or maybe you're somebody who should be restarting an ancestral practice. I don't know, but try all the things. It's fun. Have fun. That's 2. So,
well, I guess I also gave 2. So, Becki, what are your 2 pieces of babies out there?
I was going to say, it's kind of going to sound like a sounding board, but this is also, I think, good life advice too. So keep an open mind.
Yeah.
That's basically, what you're saying, Adreyauna, but also listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
Remember, as a magical practitioner, that you are the most powerful tool.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
But the magic is within you, and it's how you use the tools and interpret the messages. That you can have all of these resources at your fingertips, but they might not make any sense unless you go within and listen to the messages that are coming from your spirit or your heart or your guides.
True.
You know, that you are the biggest magical tool.
Yeah. Another friend of mine, that's exactly what I said. She was like, what do I need for, XYZ spell? And I was like, well, I mean, a little of this, a little of that, but just always remember intention is always 9/10 of the magic.
Right.
And that's another thing that I've done so much learning, especially between the first episode and now. Like that is some of my most potent and powerful spells have been purely intuition led and cannot be replicated because I don't know what I did, but I did it and it worked. And then because I was really reflecting back on the defensive magic episode we did last week and about you've already done the magic. Like you've already done the magic. Like don't turn, you should have just kept on walking. Like that's another really great piece of life advice. And that is something I'm sure y'all completely agree that so many magical things, spiritual things that I find I giving advice on, it's really just life advice.
It really is.
Like when you really boil it down to all of this, it's just don't be a dipshit. Be kind, like don't try not to do harm in the world, but also like take no shit at the same time. The more I get involved in these magical practices, I do just realize, at least for me, this is just, it's just everyday life.
Yeah.
And I'm looking back, Becki, I did send you pictures of the cards that Adreyauna pulled. I'm having just this, the imagery on the card, Adreyauna said, normally in the Five of Swords, it's a bunch of people bickering. In this, all of the swords are on the ground and there's one person and they're holding the one sword up that, I don't know, this has like such an odd sense of non-Five of Swords, like victory to it.
Agreed.
Like, I don't know. It just it keeps catching my attention. The same light that's in the cups cards, it's at the tip of the sword. And I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
It looks to me, I'm looking at the picture too, like they were victorious and they're standing there because they're proud of what they did, but they're not really sure what's next.
Right. Yeah. Cause like
okay, I fought him off. Now what do I do?
Right.
What now?
What's at the bottom of that deck?
The Hangman.
Oh,
okay. The Hangman, which is interesting because as you were finishing, Becki, I was thinking about that Five of Swords card and how it's in a deserted place and feeling like, even think about the story of the air tribe. Like, what are you fighting for?
Right.
And are you fighting for lack, desolation, fear?
Right.
Shame, guilt, or are you fighting for love and community? Right. And it feels like for us, I think we all had our own individual experience with that. Like, what are you actually fighting for? Even within ourselves, like, am I going to fight for my lack of self-love or am I going to fight for me believing in myself?
Ooh, I love that so much. I love that so much. So that difficult conversation that I was having yesterday, that was kind of the thing. That was really the difficult part of it, is that we were talking about signs from the universe. I'm a big repeating numbers, feathers on the ground kind of thing. And as we were talking about this, I, gazed to the left and there's a license plate with 444s that I was like, oh my God, and like kind of had a moment. And the person I was speaking with was kind of like, I mean, but it's just kind of numbers on a license plate, or like birds just shed feathers. And like, I was like, yeah, I mean, I know, but like, I saw that at the right moment. And like, then we kind of, it was an amicable conversation, but like just the subject matter was difficult. And that gives such Hangman vibes of for this person's safety and sanity, that's too convenient for them. That's it doesn't bring them the magic that it brings me. And it was difficult for me to like hear and kind of digest that, because like I choose to see so much magic in the world. But like, as we continue to really navigate through this difficult conversation, we got to the same space of that the things that I see as magical and connect me to spirit and to the divine and make me feel sovereign and empowered as a woman or and as a person, as a magical practitioner, gives power away in this person. So it's just really that you can't like, it's such hangman vibes about that. Like, I had to shift my perspective to see them, because the way, if they tried to see the world through my eyes, it's detrimental to their mental health. And the same for me, if I tried to see the world through their eyes, it's detrimental to my mental health. And it just really kind of gave me this pressing moment of, everybody takes in the world differently. Everybody experiences everything differently, in that you've got to hang yourself upside down sometimes to see. My fucking wise ass husband this morning we were talking all about this, and we were talking about empathy, and I can't remember the exact wording that he used, but he gave me such solace. And y'all have heard me talk about how he's not much of a magical practitioner, but as we were talking about this, he was like, a lot of our beliefs really align more than I think you realize. You just do more about it. He was like, I'm right. He's so wise. And he was like, and the empathy that you get from seeing the world from their perspective just protects you even further, which brought me back to our defensive magic. And like, so isn't it so fascinating that someone who's not a magically inclined person was able to give me precisely the advice that I needed? And then the same thing from this difficult conversation, that I could have heard that information, got pissy and shitty about it, and caused the whole ruckus. And we may have never gotten to that point. And I may never have gotten to this point, that, like how I said earlier, this conversation might have shaken my foundation in 2014, but I'm actually feeling really okay about it, because I can shift my perspective like the hangman does.
Exactly.
Thank y'all for listening to that ramble. I appreciate that.
It was a good vibe.
The other thing too, though, about the hangman, and like that I always remember, is that he is there of his own accord.
Exactly.
Right. You think that he's hanging there, that something bad has happened to him. And maybe it is a bad situation, but he's choosing to be there. And it reminds me a lot of the journey that we go through in life, that a lot of times we put ourselves in situations that maybe are detrimental to our immediate health or well-being or whatever. And, there's sometimes a reason or a lesson that we go through that we put ourselves through that. And that reminds me a lot of the story of Odin, if you guys are familiar with Norse mythology, that he sacrificed himself on the tree. He sacrificed himself to himself, actually. And the things that we can learn when we sacrifice ourselves are bigger than we have any idea that they can be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This, like, using my current situation in life over the last couple of months, that I just decided to up and move across the country again, away without having a job, and away from the people that I knew and my familiarity, because I felt like it was the thing I needed to do. It was really scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I tried not to let that fear hold me back from the thing that I knew in my heart was the right thing to do.
Right. Because that gives me vibes of, you've said so many times, oh, I'm living the tower card. For people who don't know what the tower card is, it is one of the less ideal cards in the deck. It basically means sometimes destruction, sometimes by your own means, that some major mega change is happening. But what comes after that?
Exactly.
The star. Yep. The star. And the star has always long been one of my most favorite cards, because it's all about beauty and hope, and that it gives me such wish on the first star at night vibes. Like, that's really what, and like,
and right before I moved from New Orleans, I found it was someone's business card that was artwork on the ground of the star card.
Right. Right. Oh my God, that gives me such chills. That's so cool.
That it was, I feel like the universe telling me that after you go through this, there will be that light at the end of the tunnel. It's there.
Yeah.
Right.
That job, that new life, that thing that you are striving for, that being a part of your family you are going to get to achieve that.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I love when I can hear the emotion through your voice,
Yeah.
Rev. Like you just, I love it so much. I really appreciate the vulnerability that we all get to have here.
Mm-hmm.
Get to have here.
Yeah.
So Adriana's got another deck in front of her.
I'll let you shuffle it.
Okay. What deck is this?
This one is called the Je suis l'amour.
Ooh.
And it basically means I'm the light.
Yeah.
And it was created by one of my first teachers. Love her, Ronnie Lee. Yeah, it's an oracle deck too.
Yes.
So
Is the fleur de lis because it's New Orleans or because it's French?
both.
Very cool. Ooh. Oh, wow. Woo!
Funny how that works.
Funny how
We were
that
just talking
works.
about
It's like we were just actually talking about this. Okay, guys, magic is real. So this is this really beautiful card. It's an angel standing a bunch.
It's a crow.
It's a crow.
No
There's
way.
a crow, and it's literally she's an angel. She's got a light in front of her, and it says, "Your spirit team is working on your behalf." Wow. I'm sending you a picture right now, Becki. What's on the bottom? I'm always curious. Power of the tongue. Oh, an opportunity decided. I really like this also for obviously for the podcast and for personal, because I really love these moments of whenever I do maybe feel a little bit of doubt. The spirit team is always right there reminding me, yeah, hey, by the way, this is real. This might not be real. I think that's the biggest message that I've gotten through all of this. The message might not be real for someone else, but it doesn't matter because it's for you.
That.
That's
And
I'm gonna
that's
have
also the same, I feel like, about when you come to a point in your life, in a point in your journey where you don't have to have others' approval.
right.
Your journey is not their journey. Your lessons are not their lessons. They don't have to agree with where you're at in your life and what you're doing and what kind of job you have and the fancy car and house and da-da-da-da-da. It doesn't matter what they think of your journey because it is your journey.
Right.
Yep.
They also told us to slow down just now.
That's funny.
I'm gonna say Reverend Raven. Reverend Raven. Maybe I need to slow down a little bit, girl.
Put some brakes on.
You know.
Are you referring to my 4 jobs?
I'm just saying maybe. I'm just saying maybe. Maybe like oh my God. Okay, so this power of the tongue card is jumping out at me. And so since this is a reintroductory episode for us, Becki, what are your magical aspirations?
I knew you were going to ask that. My magical aspirations are to touch the world around me. To impact the world in a positive way. That whenever I'm no longer here in the physical form, then my spirit will have had such a positive impact on the world around me.
Yes.
That you will be able to see that impact. And I don't need people to remember my name or what I looked like. Just the essence of what I did.
Yeah. I love that.
I love that. I think you're already succeeding in that, but
agreed.
But I'm sure you've got much bigger, better things to come too. Also, I have little to no doubt. Adriana, what are your magical aspirations?
What are my magical aspirations? Personally, to be as connected as I possibly can be to my human self and my spirit self. Externally, I think it's just to listen and encourage. Listen and encourage. Yeah. Not really much for you need to do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes. I am a little bossy. But I think I'm mostly here to just hear people, what's going on with them, and then to encourage them to do the thing, whatever that thing is. Because that's where I feel most connected to spirit, the ancestors, each other, humanity, is when somebody else is doing their thing.
Yes.
That's what we're here to do. Yeah.
To support and build up. And I pretty much all the things that was in Ink to Prosperity's rebranding, right?
Yeah. Well, damn. That's a full circle moment.
Yeah. It is. I want to encourage you to talk about it more on here. I know you keep it close to vest because it's important, but I do. This power of the tongue card, it's literally an apple with like a big like cheesy mouth on it. It's like wide open. And that's what I think they want you to talk about it more. Yeah. And we have a platform to talk about it more.
I'd be happy to talk
about
I have so many things to share.
Maybe we'll have to do a reintroduction to Adreyauna's Ink to Prosperity episode. Yes. I would really. Ooh, okay. Because you guys, I've said it many times before. Adreyauna changed my life. Like for real. Without cultivating alignment, there's a fair likelihood that I might be dead. And I don't say that lightly. I mean that very seriously. You really helped me see through such a different lens myself.
Yeah.
Like you gave me so much power to see who this person was and that I was being abused.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you said it that you were like, this is abuse. And I was like, no, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you helped me change my life. Like we're sitting in this house. This wouldn't be possible without you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, you were so
I love you, man.
It was so different.
I know.
But yeah, look at you now.
I know. I'm like a whole ass.
Like on air.
I'm at least like 3/4 ass of a person. I'm maybe not like a whole ass person, but
don't let her fool y'all. Don't.
Because that brings me around to certainly what my magical aspirations are. And I agree with you guys that it's about helping to support this spiritual community. Like I've never had such an appreciation for the feelers that I have out than I do now. Like I told Becki recently that like I can't rely on her anymore because she's gone now. I can't rely on Becki to come pull me out and go meet people. Like I've got to go.
Hey, introvert, we're gonna go to a party.
I do. You would be so proud of me because it was last weekend? I'm trying time. What is time? So one of the past Thursdays that has passed. I went to shout out the Witch Depot in Kenner. That's the dopest store ever. Please go support your local witches out there. But I walk in. I'm bringing one of my other little baby witch friends who like I'm slowly converting everyone. Come, my little babies, come. And I walk in, and who is sitting behind the desk but the delightful Sean Michael Rutherford.
Okay.
And I like heard his
Love
voice.
you, Auntie Sean.
Auntie Sean, yes, sweet Auntie Sean. I got to, and I like, we had never actually officially met in person. So like I came around and I was like, you were on my podcast. And you could tell at first he was kind of like, wait, what? And I was like, Entity's the magical aspirations. And like, it gave me such this sense of like, Becki pride, like I imagine would be like, hi, I'm Becki. I am Lisa for Magical Aspirations. And like that was such a cool moment. And so y'all know that I've been delving into my own cultural folk magic practices. I've really been delving into the Cajun French side. And this one of that book I just got right there, a little Italian folk magic. That's the one I got yesterday. But Sean we were able to talk about both of our Cajun French magic, the being of the trickster and all these things. Like that was such a cool connection that like, Becki, if you hadn't showed me the Witch Depot, I would have never gone there. Becki, if we didn't have this podcast, Adreyauna, we would have never had Sean on. And like, then he and I it was such this cool moment of like, he and I talked and chatted. I did all my shopping As I was walking out of the door, I was like, all right, y'all have a good day. Open the door, bing, you hear the bell. And as soon as the bell went off, it was like someone shouted in my head, Traitor, which is the Cajun healer. And I was like, Sean, because he posted about the book that I read. And the more that I've been open to these magical connections, they're just putting themselves in front of me. And so that has been, it's so encouraging to keep the podcast going and things like that. Like life gets in the way. Sometimes we're not great about posting every week, but like, I don't really care that much anymore. Like the pressure is gone. And I think that was a magical aspiration that I had that I didn't even realize that right? I'm proud of myself. That came out of my mouth and I didn't even know this. The power of the tongue. Exactly. That when you give yourself the opportunity, this beautiful little green door heart opens, and then we actually get to slow down because your spirit team is working on your behalf.
Noted.
Let me put that card behind it because that's actually how it goes. Oh my God. You guys, I'm really proud of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm really proud of us. So I don't think we've actually reintroduced ourselves officially. So hi, everyone. I'm Annalisa. I am one of the creators of Magical Aspirations. I'm pretty sure I'd call myself a witch. I think I'm there now. I'll solidly say, thanks. It's only been 73 episodes that it took for me to say that. I think I'm officially a witch. But my personal magical aspiration moving forward is to continue delving down my cultural folk magic practices, because that feels like home. It feels like home.
I love that.
Who are you, Adreyauna?
I'm Adreyauna. I am a Southern witch through and through. It gets deeper every year. I am also not a witch too. I don't know how to describe that, but I think it comes more so just from like, as I learn more about like African traditional religions and spiritual practices, that witch word is very triggering.
Yeah, it is.
So
we'll unpack that later.
We'll unpack that one later for sure. But yeah, I love water. I love fire. I love all the elements. I also love talking to the dead. They've been so loud since I've been back in New Orleans. Please. Okay.
They said, we missed you, girl.
Where you been?
Where you been, girl?
Right.
But yeah, and I don't know. I'm just here doing the things, being silly. Reverend Raven, who are you?
I am Reverend Raven, now the Country Crow.
Yeah.
I am enjoying a new spiritual connection to the land that I'm from. I felt like I couldn't be who I was when I was here before. And then I had to run away and be somewhere else to be me. And now I've come full circle to learn that I can be the magical practitioner and the spiritual being that I am and was meant to be, no matter where I'm at. And that my connection to the land is strong. And that my connection to the land is very important for its well-being. Just the way that it is important to me, that it nourishes me and cares for me. It is my job to nourish and care for this land. Those are my magical aspirations.
Yes. Oh my God, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. Well, I don't think I have much left to go over.
I have something real quick. I just wanted to mention, since we had some new listeners, that we are always taking feedback. You can reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram, or shoot us an email, magicalaspirations@gmail.com. If there's a topic that you'd like to hear us discuss, or somebody that you'd like to hear us interview, you give us the balls to reach out to these people that we wouldn't reach out to otherwise, right, Annalisa?
Definitely. Definitely, that 100,000%. If you go back, the episode where we did Mystic Primrose, she was in the UK, and like, I would have had the balls to reach out and be like, "Hey, come on my podcast." So please, if there's someone that you're too scared to talk to, or you want to know more, let us do it for you. And also, likewise, let us know what you want us to ask, because that we will talk to anybody nowadays. So, yes,
because the worst thing that can happen is that they will tell us no, and then that will lead us to a different turn down our path. So
exactly.
We're willing to do it.
Absolutely.
And it helps us on our magical journey to help you and for us all to be connected here.
It does. I would say every person that we have interviewed, I have learned an immense amount from.
So much.
Like,
so much.
We've had some really diverse people, and that's been really cool. And I'm really excited to see. I know we've it hasn't been no interviews lately because Spirit said it's just supposed to be the magical trio for right now. But hey, we'll do an interview at any point. Yeah. At any point, you send us the people and we'll do it.
Yep.
You hear that, Spirit? Keep working for us. Send us some people to interview.
All right. Opportunity.
That's right. I will slow down, but I will continue using my power of the tongue. I will. And we will definitely be posting all of these pictures. I know I'm not the best at that sometimes, but this is real life. This is real life.
All right. I'm going to throw this out there. Our last thing, we keep talking about the magic is just spicy psychology. So let's get another psychologist on here, a magical psychologist.
That's good homework. I'm on
That
it.
would be great.
Actually, Spirit, that's your homework.
Yeah.
Spicy psychologist. Send him my way. I want to talk to him.
Open.
All right, you guys. I think that's it for today. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Magical Aspirations.
Stay magical.
Stay magical.
Stay magical.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Magical Aspirations. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Magical Aspirations to keep up with the latest and the greatest from Annalisa, Adreyauna, and Reverend Raven, and to join in on the Magical Aspirations conversations. Come check out our website, magicalaspirations.com, to find bonuses from our guests, our Magical Aspirations blog, and to reach out to our magical hosts with questions, comments, reviews, or ideas for future episodes. We are so grateful for each and every one of you listening. Thank you again, and as always, stay true to your magic.